ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you've seen, and if you want to see more. Coming up in today's episode, I bring you all the scores and scorers from the Betfred Championship for the 6th of March 2022. And I also bring you the highlights from Castleford Tigers vs Hull, as well as Huddersfield Giants vs Salford Red Devils. And Paul Rowley has a little jab at the 6 again rule. So we'll begin today with the highlights of Castleford Tigers vs Hull FC, as Castleford head coach Lee Radford is coming up against his old side in Hull FC, who he was acrimoniously sacked live on Sky Sports. But aside from that, Castleford need a victory. They've got no win so far, no points on the board in the plus column. And Hull FC need a win to start some momentum and get them up the league towards the playoff picture which they want to be in. So, here are the teams that both sides have named. So the visitors first of all, as Jake Corner continues at fullback, but Jamie Scholl comes into the side for Darnell McIntosh, and Josh Griffin moves into the centres, as Hull have lost Cameron Scott to a bad injury. Luke Gale begins his suspension, and Ben McNamara deputises in his place. Chris Sarte moves off the bench in place of Brad Fash, while Andre Cervello appears on the bench after missing, on the second row after missing last week's game. Jordan Johnston drops to the bench in place of Brad Fash, and Jordan Lane continues in the side. On the bench, Kane Evans makes an appearance for the first time this season and replaces Mitali Vuli Kipajapani, while Jack Brown and Joe Lovidua continue coming on from interchange. For the Tigers, after defeat against Hull KR, the red side of the Hull City, Gareth O'Brien drops to fullback in place of Niall Evalds. Greg Eden returns for his first game of the year, with Mane, Fanua, Jordan Turner and Darrell Alforts continuing the back line. Paul McShane partners Jake Truman in the backs, while Daniel Smith starts from the bench. Well, comes onto the pitch from the bench, with George Lawler and Sula Matagi in the front row. Alex Sutcliffe continues with Chase Blair and Joe Westerman. On the bench though, Tyler Heppy, Kane Robb stays on the bench, Sam Hall returns to the bench, and so does Brad Martin. So let's go into the first half. Straight from the kickoff, Hull KR's Chris Sarte fumbles Jake Connor's pass into Daniel Smith's hands, who powers over to get Cassie's first try of the game. Gareth O'Brien adds the 2 for 6-0. Hull hit back as Chris Sarte hits the tackle and offloads to Halfton, who in turn passes 1-2 through to him and Andre Cervello, who gives the number 9 a clear run to the try line. Ben McNamara adds the extras, then Cass are back on the attack, and after a Drake Truman's kick is not taken, it is Greg Eden who goes over in the corner for his first try of the game. Cass then go right, and Paul McShane and Jake Truman find Chase Blair, who powers over the line for his first try of the game. Straight from the kickoff, Hull have the advantage back as Darrell Alforts puts the ball down, and Josh Griffin, acting captain, scores after a Ben McNamara pass. The ball kicking on point for half-time score of 18-12. But Cass just after half-time passed the ball through McShane and Truman to find Gaz O'Brien, who goes over for his first try of the game for Cass. as they pass the ball through Jake Truman and Gaz O'Brien's hand, who buzzes a pass out wide for Greg Eden to score in the corner for his second try of the game. But back come Hull FC as Lovedua passes it on to McNamara, who finds Reynolds, who bullets a pass out to Griffin, who puts the ball on a plate for Swift to dive over in the corner, getting hurt in the process. Hull are back on the attack again, and Lovedua passes out to Connor, who dummies and kicks for the corner for Connor Wynn to dive over and score in the right corner. But back come Cass as the ball works its way out to Jordan Turner, who finds half a gap, and passing it on to Daniels, who finds Greg Eden, who dummies his way past Jake Connor and has enough about him to put the ball down in the corner. After a small bit of consultation, it is given for Eden's hat-trick. Not to be deterred, but back come Hull FC as Reynolds passes out to Connor, who offloads to Jamie Shaw, who dives over in the corner to keep Hull's ticking over for the points. But just to put the icing on the cake, Gareth O'Brien kicks a drop goal, doing what Gareth O'Brien does, as Castleford are off the mark with a 33 points to 26 victory over Hull FC, and Lee Radford with his first win for Castleford Tigers. After the match, both coaches had their say on the games, and you think that Lee Radford was happier of the two from the conversations. First of all, Castleford coach Lee Radford. I thought Greg Eden coming in for his first game of the year was phenomenal, and our big blokes did a really good job as well. I know there were headlines prior to the game, but for me it was just about getting the win. It was special for us to get the win after what has been really hard work for the last 4 weeks. In the other dressing room, the away dressing room, Brett Hodgson had words for his team as well. We need to learn a lesson from this. Everyone is hugely disappointed, and the players are saying the right things in the sheds at this moment, but ultimately, we're just not good enough a team to turn up thinking we're going to win. It's probably a good thing to just have a 4-day turnaround because we don't want to dwell on it. Today we weren't at the races mentally, but we need to go to Leeds next week and put in a performance. Before we go on to the second Super League game, let's go and have a look at how the Betfred Championship played out, as there were a number of games with only one not being played on the Sunday. That one will come to at the end of the scores and scorers. So here we are with the scores and scorers. First of all, it was League 34, Newcastle Thunder 18. Lee Centurions went over with tries from Neen McDonald, Ben Reynolds, Caleb Aiken, who scored twice, Smith and Brand, while Reynolds kicked 5 goals. Newcastle have replied with Halsall, D and Noakes, while Sharrocks kicked 3 goals himself. All the good work was done by Lee in the first half as they led 22 points to 6 at half time. Workington Town were resoundingly beaten by Sheffield Eagles 54 points to 4. Tries from Farrell, Bass, Thackeray, Oakes, Farrell again, Jones, Bishop, Wood, Crimes, Haffel, Lafihi, and 9 goals by Isaac Farrell was enough to set Sheffield Eagles to one of the big wins of the weekend. Ter was the only try scorer for Workington. Featherstone faced local rivals Halifax Panthers and continued with their 100% record with a resounding 22 points to 12 victory against the Panthers. Featherstone went over through tries from Gale, Smith and Hall 2, and Hall kicked 2 conversions and kicked a penalty, while Dufresne, Ashton and Keys with the 2 conversions got the points on the board for Halifax, who were 6 points to 4 up at half time. Here is the Hall's second try as they go through the hands through Lockwood, Cuthbertson, Jones, Pickersgill, and then Hall steps off his left foot and beat 4, 5, 6 men to bundle over the line for the try. The Bradford Bulls beat the Batley Bulldogs by 1 point as they came out victors 21 points to 20 with a Jordan Lilly drop goal to finish the game. It was a very even game as the two sides went in at half time 12 points to 12. Tries from Murphy, Doyle, Tyndall and 3 goals by Deck Patton as well as a penalty from Deck Patton were the point scorers for Bradford Bulls before the Lilly drop goal. Hudson, Wilshaw, Leake all scored tries for Batley, and Gilmore kicked 3 goals and a penalty himself to even up the game. But Jordan Lilly does what Jordan Lilly does and kicks the conversion, the drop goal to win the game. In another close game, York City Knights won at London Broncos 26 points to 24 in what was a back and forth game. And the last points did go to London Broncos, who unfortunately came 2 points shy. The try scorers for York were Oakes, Michael, Harris, Clarkson and Glover, while Ellis kicked 3 goals. For London Broncos it was Williams who scored their first try, Ararata who scored twice, and Ulberg who scored the final try. Mokidreki kicked 4 goals altogether. And finally, Whitehaven were comprehensive winners against Dewsbury Rams, 40 points to 12. It was a one-way occurrence from the second half onwards as Dewsbury Rams raced to a 12 points to 8 lead with Dixon, Milnes and Beryl scoring 2 goals for all the Dewsbury points in the first half. Wilkinson Bradley scored 2 tries for Whitehaven to keep the parity before half-time, while Graham, Bishop, Phillips and Dixon for Whitehaven all scored tries to complete the rout for Whitehaven. Bishop scored 6 conversions as well as 2 penalties to seal the game. And now here comes the championship table. Featherstone still lead the way after 5 wins from 5, but with Widnes Vikings yet to play this weekend and Barrow Raiders being 2 games behind, it is Lee that comes up in second place. At the bottom of the table, we see Workington with 4 games and 4 defeats, just behind London Broncos who have 5 losses from 5. Dewsbury Rams and Halifax Panthers are also down near the bottom. The weekend's championship action finishes on Monday night on Premier Sports as Widnes Vikings play Barrow Raiders, as both teams want to keep their 100% record alive to put pressure on the Featherstone team at the top of the table. Now let's get into the Huddersfield Giants game versus Salford Red Devils, as both teams were looking to Huddersfield to continue their form at the beginning of the season with only 1 defeat so far, and Salford to going for their 3rd victory as well, despite losing heavily at Hull FC last time out. So both coaches have made their changes, and this is where we're at. So in an interesting change in the back line, Salford have brought in Matt Costello with Tim Li-Fi dropping out of the squad altogether. While the halves continue with Croft and Sneed, it is the same front forward line with Vuniyawa, Yawa even, Ackers and Burke. Ryan Lannon starts despite missing last week in the second row, and he replaces James Greenwood, who drops out of the 17. On the bench, we see Dion Lewis Cross dropping out of the sub benches altogether, with Chris Atkin returning to the bench, but he is joined by Jack Ormeroyd after Alex Gerrard drops out. and the places are still kept for Danny Addy and Sitoleti Akawala. For the home team, there's only one change on the bench, on the team, as Oliver Roberts comes in for Josh Jones into the starting lineup, but otherwise it's as you were. Ash Golding continues on the bench. James Greenwood drops out of the starting of the 17 altogether. Joe Greenwood, drops out of the 17 altogether, which means that he's replaced by Oliver Russell. Sebastian Ikehifo starts from the bench as normal, as does Matty English. So we begin the game with Huddersfield on the offensive, and the ball finds its way after a speculative pass by Chris Hill to Will Price, who merrily dances round Salford's defence to score and convert his own try for a 6-0 lead. Huddersfield come again, and it is Tualola here pulling the strings with a kick for Chris McQueen to dive over for the second try of the game, and Will Price again converts for a 12-0 lead. Then the contentious decision. The referee has determined that Ryan Lannon has held down the man too long, after calling 6 again, and sends him to the sin bin. Will Price adds the 2, and that is 14 points to 0, with Sneed scoring a penalty himself for 14 points to 2. We're in the second half now, and after the half-time whistle, Innis Senior goes over in the corner for the try. Chris Hill burrows his way over for his try in the game to make it, again, a one-way scoreline. Salford are on the attack again, but after an interception from Jermaine McGillivray, it is all done by the whistling, as there is only one more try to come in, and Huddersfield are so dominant during this game. A long pass by Lolohea finds Innis diving over in the corner for the final score of the game. Will Price converted 4 out of the conversion attempts and 1 penalty, and a comprehensive win of 34 points to 2 to the Giants against the Salford Red Devils. Again, we're going to hear from the two coaches, and they're going to explain what they thought of today's game. First, Huddersfield's coach Ian Watson, as he had a say for his team's mental attitude during this match. Last year I was quite beat up losing the game against Salford. It wounded me because you always want to go up against your old club and win as well. I didn't want to feel like that again, but mentally I'm in a different place. Last year it was fresh. I had just left Salford. I'm happy we won, but it is more the manner in which we have won the game. Not as upbeat, Paul Rowley said, the scoreline suggests we were well beaten, but it doesn't reflect the effort the boys put in. The execution of our attacks was off, but in defence, we never gave in. We were tough, resilient and scrambled remarkably well. In the first 2 minutes, we got a set restart against us, a repeat set, and a penalty. It took a long time to get anything back from there. The stats were ridiculously in Huddersfield's favour, and we pretty much drowned for the entire game. Salford coach Paul Rowley may be heading to hot water with the RFL review board after he had a comment in regards to the sin binning of Ryan Lannon. After 2 wins in their opening 2 games, Salford have come back down to earth with back-to-back comprehensive defeats, first to Hull FC and today against Huddersfield. For head coach Paul Rowley, despite the scoreline, he believed there were some positives in the side's performance. So positive feedback for the squad, but it doesn't seem positive about the 6 again rule, which he has described as a grey area. Ultimately, it was the rule that which saw Lannon sin bin just before half time. As we saw in the highlights, this meant that Salford were effectively out of the game after Huddersfield crossed for a game-killing try at the start of the second half through Innis Senior. Speaking after the game, Rowley shared his thoughts on the yellow card and the restart rule itself. The feedback to Ryan then, with 30 seconds left on the clock, was that we'd had too many set restarts given against us, and we had 4. So I don't know. It must be a secret rule. Quite bizarre, really. We got 1 restart that came in the 77th minute. I thought we were done pretty harshly there, and on the restarts, the one in the first set of 6 really set the tone, and the ones we didn't get. It's just a grey area. I don't want to go on it because take 2. I thought we were pretty done. Take 3. I thought we were done pretty harshly there, and on the restarts, the one in the first set of 6 set the tone, really, and the ones we didn't get. It's such a grey area. I don't want to go on about it, because Tony Smith did this week, and I don't want to reflect from the fact that we were beaten by a very good team. Take 4. I thought we were done pretty harshly there, and on the restarts, the one in the first set of 6 set the tone, really, and the ones we didn't get. It was such a grey area. I don't want to go on about it, because Tony Smith did this week. And I don't want to reflect from the fact that we were beaten by a very good team. True to his word, he did have plenty of things to say and praise for Huddersfield, who ran out 34 points to 2 winners, and now they have 3 wins from their opening 3 games out of 4. Huddersfield are in a good place, Rowley said. They complete really high. They are up there for completions and field position in the first and second in Super League, so they are in a good spot in their journey. So it was a different sort of game, and one we were looking forward to. Rowley said that, and also for his own side said that they showed plenty of guts, despite being put behind the 8 ball plenty of times, including the sin binning and some errors on their own making. Huddersfield go on, and Salford need to look for their 3rd win. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and also share this video worldwide, as well as clicking that notification bell for any updates on new videos that might be coming your way. Tell me what your thoughts are on today's game. Do you think Salford's bubbles burst, or are they still trying to find their way, even after 4 games? Huddersfield Giants, are they turning a corner now that they've got 3 wins from 4, getting closer towards the top? Castleford, first win of the season. It's excellent. Did they beat a poor Hull side, or did they show their A game in this match, with Lee Radford showing his old employers what to do? And finally, Paul Rowley, the 6 again rule. It's becoming more and more prevalent. We've had 2 coaches in 2 days talking about it. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think they should go to a penalty rule in the 20, like the Aussies seem to be doing, or is the 6 again rule still working? I don't think we've heard the end of it this year. But in your comments, your descriptions, please tell me what you think's going on. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please remember to stay safe, all the best, and I'll see you in the next episode.